G'day everybody, as I sit out here in natural sunlight. So far this week I haven't really been that active, and that's because of the new Masters in Healthy Aging that I'm taking. And although it is taking me away a little bit from the research side of things in terms of light, it's actually opening up a completely different perspective on how aging affects our ability to deal with light, our ability to respond to light. And if you saw my post this morning about why appropriate light levels in the evening are so important, and why what kind of melatonin suppression. So melatonin is the kind of sleep hormone, but it's also a humongously important antioxidant. And if you are suppressing melatonin, you are suppressing that antioxidant. And one of the melatonin's antioxidant abilities is to get inside the mitochondria and repair oxidative damage. So if you spend your entire evening in front of a TV, on your telephone, with bright lights on, you are suppressing your melatonin, you are suppressing your antioxidant ability to get inside that mitochondria and repair the oxidative damage that has occurred throughout the day. And so when you wake up the next morning, you're going to wake up feeling fatigued and a little bit lethargic. And so I say to you, wouldn't it be better if you go back and you look at the post that I posted previously this morning, and you look at the peak light emittance of an iPad or an LED, what you'll see is they correlate pretty closely to peak melatonin disruption levels. So every time you are watching that TV screen, all the time you are putting those bright lights on, all the time you're on your phone, your computer, you are humongously disrupting your melatonin. And if you are disrupting your melatonin, then you are disrupting your ability to repair oxidative damage inside your mitochondria. And therefore tomorrow when you wake up, you're not going to have as much energy as you could do, because your mitochondria aren't functioning as well as they could do. It's as simple as that. So if you want to function better on every level, you need to prioritize sleep, and in order to prioritize sleep, you need to prioritize light. And on the flip side of the evening is the morning. Being out in the daylight in the morning is humongously important because it sends signals through your eyes to something called your SCN, or your suprachiasmatic nucleus. And what that does is that is basically your body's master clock. And without the right amount of light being sent through your eyes to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, we don't function as well. We don't get that signal to switch on, boys, let's go. And what that does is every cell has basically a clock in it that tells it when to turn on specific gene expressions. And so you understand that without the right stimulants in the morning through light, we're never going to give enough of a stimulus for that gene expression to occur. Therefore, we are going to have issues with performance, cognitive performance, physiological performance. We're going to have issues with mood. We're going to have issues with irritability, etc. because we haven't sent the signals through. So much like the evening time, let's get away from suppressing that melatonin. Let's actually get some proper light, proper red lights going, and then darkness going. Let's dim it right down first, and let's go into a red, and then let's sleep in absolute darkness. Because don't forget, we have the super master clock back here, but on your skin also has several kind of peripheral clocks that if you are that's why, where possible, I will get out and expose as much of my body to the blue light as possible on the other wavelengths like UV light, etc., in order to anchor those and make sure that the gene expression happens when it should do in a given day. But what I was going to say is, although it's taken the Masters has taken my focus away from specific research with regards to light and photobiomodulation. It's opened up a whole new avenue of how light affects the aging process, which is opening up a whole new way of thinking about it and understanding that actually the older you get, the more important light stimulus is. Because we know that as we age, pretty much everything gets less efficient. And one of those things is mitochondrial efficiency. And if we are suppressing our melatonin, so we've already got decreased mitochondrial efficiency, so we're not getting as much energy. We're not able to fight off infections as well. We're not able to do the things that we would want to do. Our mood is even slightly depressed. And so if we're then on top of that, we're going to suppress melatonin with artificial lighting, TV screens, computer screens, phone screens. So which is further going to reduce our capacity of our mitochondria. How is an old person going to feel? We also know that eyesight or light sensitivity decreases with age. And we know that actually it could be as much as 40 or 50% less light is transmitted through the eye, which is huge. And so it's even more important the older you get to get the right amount of light stimulus in the morning, and that means getting outside into the daylight. Even if it's not sunny, it's sunny now, but when I was out this morning it was cloudy. But that's still brighter than it is inside. Even with the lights on, the outside is still brighter. And so getting older people, your mum, your nan, your granddad, your dad, aunts, uncles or whatever, getting them outside in the morning into the daylight will help with their productivity during the day, will help with their mood during the day, and more importantly, will help with their sleep and their melatonin, their peak melatonin levels that following night. If, of course, they sort out their evening time lighting. So as we age, it almost becomes more important that we get the appropriate light, because we need more of it in the morning. And you would think if our eyes don't get as much light transmittance through them, you would think that that would affect the melatonin suppression in the evening, because there wouldn't be as much light. No, that's not the case at all. Apparently that light sensitivity for melatonin suppression doesn't really get suppressed as we age. So if we haven't got the extra stimulus in the morning and we're still as easy to suppress our melatonin in the evening as we age, we're getting a double whammy of negative effects. So that's why the older you get, the more important it becomes to get out in the sunlight in the morning and sort your evening time lighting out. And you think about that the same way when you think about the kids now. In Norway during summertime, we have very light evenings and very light mornings. So the very light mornings are great for kids to wake up, get outside and anchor their circadian rhythm. Alright, but the evenings are where it becomes slightly difficult, because we have got this high prevalence of blue light from outside, natural blue light. No, I'm not talking about and then we expect them to go to bed, bang. And that's why I would always say, okay, right, what can we do with kids before they go into bed? Because we're giving that child has had just daylight signals, and then we expect it to go to bed. So what can you do? You can start relaxing things down with your kid. You can start relaxing things down, reading books, playing board games, etc., etc. Things that will just start to calm his or her central nervous system down into a kind of parasympathetic rest or digest mode. We can also slightly change the lighting. If you have a red light in there, if you have a red light somewhere in your home, then you spend more of that time with a red light on, and so it becomes more like a sunset. Even though it's not sunset outside, it becomes more like a sunset. And make sure that the bedroom is dark. Now, some kids, of course, don't like to sleep in the absolute dark. Okay, so what can we do? We make it as as melatonin suppressing the least melatonin suppressing light is the further red you go. Alright, so we have the bedroom lit up with red where possible. But we still want to keep it fairly dim, but we want to keep it red. So we relax them down. We increase the reds in the red colours in the room. And then what you might find is actually that they become calmer just with the red light. They become calmer because you are becoming calmer. And actually putting them to bed becomes easier. Because actually their whole body starts to understand, oh look, it's not daylight, I'm not getting the blue light signals to suppress my melatonin, I'm getting red light which doesn't, or has a very limited effect on suppressing melatonin, therefore I can crank that up and I'll feel tired and I'll get into a nice peaceful night's sleep. So there you go. You've got advice for you, your parents or your grandparents, and your kids. It's time we all start looking at light and how it affects us negatively or positively. And the great thing is you are in control of that. You are in control of every aspect of light. You can hack your light situation, you can hack your light environment, and you can embrace the natural light where possible.